This was a bit of a guilty pleasure selection as a finalist because this would be one of our first ever space finalists for the BDP. This one is making it through to the final, no holds barred, going to the moon, Zelda sets. This probably would certainly portfolio conflict. For the next 2 weeks, you and I both have the amazing pleasure to grace the Bricklink designer community with our votes to determine who we would like to see as finalists in Series 6 of the Bricklink Designer Program. I took the time last night. I spent about 3 hours going through every single submission to determine who I thought objectively would be a finalist for the Bricklink Designer Program. Now, as I said, I tried to be objective with it, which is quite tough because there were many designs where I thought I really like this design. But I had to step back and be objective and say, well, it's probably not going to happen. Now, you have to remember the importance of voting. If you watched my video interview with the senior program manager of the Bricklink Designer Program, Alex, he dispelled many myths that I myself believed. If you haven't watched that video, make sure you check it out. All that to say, it is super important to vote on any set that you want to see make it to the finalist round. Of the 300 total designs, it also is very interesting to break them down by category. For instance, we can click the category filters. On the screen now, you'll see a graphic that compares all the submission categories that have made up Series 6 of the BDP. It was also interesting to see that many of the finalists from previous rounds did not actually submit designs for this round, but we definitely still saw some familiar faces. In walking through the designs, I made sure to pick sets that spanned the range from small to large. As we know from the FAQs on the Bricklink website, they generally like to hit an average part count of 2,500, give or take a couple hundred depending on the series, so I made sure that my 5 finalists fell within that criteria. I do have to say, in looking at these series submissions, we did not see as many high quality medieval or castle builds. There were definitely some very unique ones, but all in all, nothing really stuck out to me as an objective judge to see which sets could actually make it to the finalists of this series. Now, getting into the finalists that I think would make it to that final round based on fan voting, we're going to start off with one that is so adorable, so cute, that I feel like it's going to take the community by storm, and we're definitely going to see this in the final round. Coming in with the smallest part count and size set for Series 6 that I think will make it is Walt the Little Robot. Now, just look at this guy. He is so adorable. You can't look at that and tell me that you don't think that people are just going to absolutely love this set. He comes with several different faces that allow different expressions, and honestly, you could very easily make your own unique expressions with this robot, which is super adorable, super fun. I know I'm going to show Mrs. CPA this robot, and I can already tell you her reaction is going to be like, oh, it's so adorable. And I feel like many of you in the comments, let me know, but I just feel like this one is too cute, too unique. We haven't really seen anything like this in previous series of the BDP. It's a lot of support for this build, but as you can see, I've already voted that I love this set because I just think it's so adorable. I think it'll make it to the finals. With the piece count being 663, I would expect this set to be relatively cheap at the $50 to $60 range. And this little robot actually also fits under the space category, so it will be very interesting that this would be one of our first ever space finalists for the BDP. But let me know in the comments what you think about this one. Moving up into the second spot, jumping all the way up to 2,100 pieces, which I know I definitely prefer to have sets in that $100 to $200 price range. This does jump that, going straight from the robot to the haunted house, but I feel like fans will greatly appreciate this design because a lot of fans do love that fall, that spooky aesthetic, and I feel like it could grab a bunch of fans into the Bricklink Designer Program theme, seeing a set like this that LEGO doesn't always make. I know we do have 2 haunted theme sets available at retail right now with the Hocus Pocus house and then with the Nightmare Before Christmas set. However, we know those are going to be gone before long, so I think we might see this one. However, of course, you know that LEGO does take their portfolio conflicts seriously, so I'm a little hesitant to think, would this set, if chosen, be blocked by a portfolio conflict because Nightmare Before Christmas will likely still be on sets next year when this ships. You'll have to let me know in the comments below what you think about that one because I'm kind of wrestling with it a little bit, and I think fans though will still really like this set. One of the drawbacks to it, but allowing to keep it just around that 2,000 part count, is the fact that this set has an open back. Now, I am personally not a fan of an open back, but we do get a lot of playability with this set with the swinging chandelier. It looks like this ladder can go up and down to the attic, and we have some functionality in the front as well. Moving on to the additional pictures, there actually is a lot of functionality. Of course, we have trick-or-treaters as well. Coming in at 2,100 parts, I would expect this to be about $200 to $190, which does allow us to have some cheaper sets for fans of the BDP. So I've been sitting here editing the video today, and I just had to take a moment to pause because I'm kind of stuck on this haunted house being that sort of lower middle set that I've picked as one of the finalists. As I look at it more and more, I just feel like it doesn't quite meet the top level design criteria that we expect from the Bricklink Designer Program, and I feel like there might be other sets out there. My gut tells me that a medieval set kind of has to make it through, so I'm sort of leaning towards one of those sets. Earlier in the video, I did show the Wizard's Tower and the Wolf Swamp. I feel like those two are some solid sets that fit in that criteria, and my gut's just telling me this haunted house doesn't quite have what it takes. I do want to put a little asterisk and say that I feel like a medieval set has to get through just because that's how it usually always goes. So let me know in the comments if you think that's probably how it's going to be. We're going to get a medieval set over this haunted house, but I just had to take a moment to put this in there because I feel like haunted house isn't quite gonna make it, even though it is a decent set and people seem to like it so far. Next up, we have the Wild West Bank, which is actually a continuation of a previous series. Series 1 saw us get the general store created by Lucky, which he has 3 sets actually in total in this series, and I feel like one of them has to be selected, with the Western theme being very popular amongst some fans. To me, this screams as one that would want to be continued by several who chose that for Series 1. And of the 3, I felt like this was the most comprehensive build, the most unique, very beautiful design. Of course, it gives that classic Red Dead Redemption vibe. The back also opens up. As you can see from the front view, these walls are opened up in the back, but if we flip around to the back view, and it also comes with a little carriage, which is always nice to have those ancillary builds. Flipping around to the back and top, you can see the roof can come off, of course, and then it really opens up that back. Here's the very, very plain back view. You can see the hinges down here on the bottom, so it would just open and close like a storybook, which personally, I love when sets include that style, and I think it works perfectly here. With this set coming in at 2,400 pieces to about $220, so it's not very expensive, but it is kind of getting up there. But this one, with Lucky's design style and his theme continuing throughout this, I really, really hope that this one gets selected as a final, and I think it will. So I'm actually going to upgrade my vote to love it, just because I think this will be one of the finalists. Moving into our 4th BDP finalist, this was a bit of a guilty pleasure selection as a finalist because Let's Go Lego Brick created an absolute masterpiece with this river house. Now, I know I am a sucker for modern design, modern architecture, and this super scratches that itch. River house created by Let's Go Lego Brick looks amazing. Coming in at about 2,650 pieces, this one shouldn't be any more than $250. So with what we're getting here with this design, I just feel like it's so unique, it's so special, it looks so crisp to me that I think it's a super standout set. I voted for it as love it. I hope you vote for it as love it too, because if this makes it to a finalist, I will 100% be buying this set. Moving through the pictures here, we get a pretty good look at this shot, as Let's Go Lego Brick always has very, very fire renders with this set. We only get 2 minifigs with this one, and an actually mini build of this set, which I didn't notice on my first perusal, so that's actually pretty fun. A lot of rooms here, so if someone complains that this doesn't have very many minifigures, I can only imagine that you have so many minifigures in your collection that you'd be able to furnish this set with minifigures so easily. So I don't think the minifigure count would be an issue. It looks like a really fun build. I don't know what these question marks are on the wall. I'm kind of curious about that myself. I don't know. It's just, like I said, it's a guilty pleasure for me. Let me know if it's not really for you, because I really want to get an objective thought about this set and if there are some better ones out there. I know I talked about the haunted house with having portfolio conflicts, and this one strikes me that might have a portfolio conflict as well. If you remember, at the end of last year, it was revealed to us through the LEGO Ideas program that we will be getting the Cullen house from Twilight. Now, this house, while not the exact same, does spark that modern architecture vibe, and I would expect the Cullen house to be retailing on shelves about the same time that this will be open for pre-order and or shipment. So that kind of has me worried that this set might experience a portfolio conflict block as well, and I hope they are different enough that Bricklink can look at this and say, it's gonna be fine. You guys can have this set and the Cullen house. So fingers crossed that this one will not show up as a portfolio conflict, but you'll have to let me know if you think this is close enough to the Cullen house and should be rendered a portfolio conflict. Now moving on to the last and final selection that I think will make it the big boy, the largest set that I have pushed through, the Elven Haven, created by Nicolas Carlier, who also had the Parisian Street in Series 1. Now this design, so crisp, so clean, obviously it gives very, very strong Rivendell vibes. So I don't think, because we know that Rivendell is retiring, I believe at the end of next year, this one should be available for pre-order in the next 10, 11 months. So I think that this set itself will be safe from a portfolio conflict, unless of course LEGO is planning to release some sort of fantasy theme that involves elves or this kind of structure. Or lastly, of course, if we are getting any more Zelda sets, this probably would certainly portfolio conflict with a set like that, because this just gives me super Hyrule, super Legend of Zelda vibes. And it would be unfortunate that this would get blocked for a reason, but then that means we're getting Legend of Zelda Lego sets, more of them anyways, which I think a lot of you would be a huge fan of. I really like how it folds. Once again, you know me, I'm a sucker for sets that can fold and show in different areas, display different ways. This does just that. So there's a lot of different ways to display the set, which I really, really enjoy. But the back is open, which I don't think is an issue here. Rivendell's back is still open, super fire set, so I don't really have any issues with this one being an open back like this. But let me know. I know a lot of you fans in the comments in past videos have not been a huge fan of open backs regardless, but this one for me gets a pass just because, I mean, look at it. It's a beauty. I love the design. I love the colorization. It just pops. So crisp, so clean. How many pieces, you wonder? 3,973. So I do not see this one being more than $389.99, similar to Mountain Fortress. I don't see this one being cheaper than, say, $370. I don't think this one is going to be cheaper than $369.99. So Elven Haven, already 35 comments. Nicolas Carlier, you created a masterpiece here with this large build. Not many builds this series unfortunately impressed me, but this one, seeing it right off the bat, I was very, very impressed. Now, last but not least, I want to look at some honorable mentions that I thought were really fun, really cool. Starting out with Monkey Business. I mean, it's an upscaled minifigure of the Lego monkey. Very technical in many ways if you look at how this face is designed. There's a lot of very unique layering going into this set. Next up, we have the Post Office, created by Lucky. I did mention him earlier in the video. This was his second of 3 sets submitted to the BDP this series. I love the coloring on this one. If the other one doesn't get in, I feel like one of his sets has to get in. This is right at 2,000 pieces, so it would be under $200 easily. Pair very, very well with the general store from Series 1. A remake from Series 5 submission is the Art Factory by Brickster. He did adjust it to conform with the new modular rule, or should I say anti-modular rule. I could talk about this set literally all day. Last but not least, we have the Chicken-saurus Rex, which might be the set of the century. This one is making it through to the final, no holds barred, going to the moon, selling out day 1 within the hour. Chicken-saurus Rex, created by Smeet. I mean, just look at this thing. It's a beauty. It's amazing. It's so unique. I've never seen anything like it. I guarantee you no one in the comments has thought of putting together a chicken and a T-Rex. And guess what? You'll never see this again because this is as ambitious as it gets. If this somehow gets through to a finalist round in the BDP, I will buy it. I'm committing today. I will buy this set without even thinking about it. So to wrap up, you all will have to let me know what you think about my finalist selections to the BDP Series 6. I tried to be as objective as possible, get a good spread of pieces, as the average was around 2,400 pieces. But let me know in the comments below, did I miss a set that should have been in here? Or did I pick one that you think is absolutely fire and you will be picking on day 1 if it makes it to a finalist of the Bricklink Designer Program Series 6? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.